If anything makes it harder for millions of households to deal with dire economic times, it's high gas prices that make it unbearable. Skyrocketing gas prices exacerbate inflation almost on all products the average family consumes. Thus, in this video, we'll discuss why gas prices in America are climbing in August and how they'll impact millions of Americans already burdened by high inflation. But before moving on, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the notification bell, because that way you'll stay informed about the most important economic trends in the US. Without any delay, let's get back to the topic. As reported by Bloomberg, gasoline prices at pump stations in the US have increased significantly, marking the highest rise in over a year. These prices are approaching the highest levels recorded in 2023, which could pose a challenge in the battle against inflation. The average fuel cost went up by 4 cents in July, reaching $3.636 per gallon. This marks the most significant increase since June 2022 and falls just 5 cents short of the peak recorded in April this year. However, that's not all. Gas prices hit a 2023 high on August 3rd, sparking concerns that the current downward trend in U.S. inflation may be reversed. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of gas spiked by almost 30 cents to $3.82 in just 1 month. This surge in prices is mainly attributed to crude oil prices in the U.S., rallying 15% in July, with West Texas Intermediate currently standing at over $81 per barrel. MarketGauges.com chief strategist Michelle Schneider strongly advises keeping a vigilant eye on oil prices, especially with the $80 per gallon threshold being a crucial area that demands monitoring. It's important to note that current gas prices are not as high as they were in June 2022, when they hit a record high of $4.62 per gallon. At that time, gas prices were on the verge of reaching $5 nationwide, which impacted Americans' summer travel plans. The increase in gas prices significantly contributed to the inflation Americans faced throughout the majority of last year, as reported by the Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City. However, the upward trend of prices of gas right now causes enormous financial problems for millions of Americans. And as for everything, gas prices vary across the United States due to various factors such as regional refinery maintenance and limited supplies in some states. AAA reports that California had the highest gas prices in the country, with an average of $5.01 per gallon. Washington and Oregon followed closely behind with a cost of $4.96 and $4.92, respectively. Meanwhile, Mississippi had the lowest average price of approximately $3.29 per gallon, followed by Louisiana at $3.39 and Alabama at $3.40. But what is the primary cause of such a sudden price spike of fuel? Well, one of the problems is high temperature. July proved to be one of the most scorching months on record across multiple states, including Arizona, Texas, and New Mexico. In Phoenix, the new record was set with an unprecedented 31 consecutive days of 110-degree temperatures during the day. As a consequence of these extreme conditions, oil refineries were forced to scale back their output, given that many of them can only function in temperatures ranging between 32 and 95 degrees, as reported by CBS News' Chris Van Cleve. Consequently, gas prices were inevitably driven up, and according to a recent analysis by AAA spokesperson Andrew Gross, the extreme heat from last month contributed to the recent increase in gas prices. Some refineries had to reduce their operations. Several fuel-making plants in Texas and Louisiana, which account for half the nation's refinery capacity, have experienced outages due to heat in recent weeks, according to Patrick DeHaan, head of petroleum analysis at GasBuddy. Even the refineries that are still operating are probably producing less because petroleum expands in high temperatures. Another reason Americans pay higher prices on gas this month is the high oil prices on international markets. Crude oil prices have recently hovered around $80 per barrel, up from around $70 per barrel a month ago. Recent data reveals that the average annual price of Brent crude oil was $79.75 per barrel as of June 2023. This is approximately $21 lower than the average in 2022, but a significant increase nonetheless. It's common for gas prices to increase when global oil prices rise, and this is currently happening. The increase in oil prices is partly due to Russia, third largest oil producer in the world, cutting production beginning in August. At the beginning of August, Deputy Prime Minister Alexander Novak announced that Russia would decrease its oil exports by 300,000 barrels per day in September. Novak stated that this decision was made in order to maintain a balanced oil market. Russia had previously committed to reducing its oil output by roughly 500,000 barrels per day, which equates to approximately 5% of its oil production. From March until the end of the year, to fulfill this goal, Russia will be cutting its exports to global markets by the aforementioned quantity in the upcoming months. UBS investment bank analysts anticipate that crude prices will rise to $85 to $90 in the upcoming months due to an increase in oil demand. In addition, Saudi Arabia, the second largest oil producer, reduced its oil exports last month by cutting production by 1 million barrels per day. This move was intended to raise oil prices, and the kingdom announced that it would continue with the reduced output until the end of September. According to a Saudi Energy Ministry official, this voluntary reduction is in line with the efforts made by OPEC Plus countries to maintain stability and balance in oil markets. The official also stated that the decline may be extended or increased if necessary. The Saudi government is eager to boost oil prices to support Vision 2030, a plan to revamp the country's economy, decrease its dependence on oil, and create job opportunities for its young population. Finally, how skyrocketing gas prices will affect American families. Considering the previous year's example, one can say that lower-income families will feel the most brutal financial hit by the rising gasoline prices. It's evident that the rural, low-income families who drive more frequently are experiencing a more significant impact as a result of the increasing fuel prices, stated Kent Smetters, an economist at the University of Pennsylvania. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the data also supports this trend. This chart shows that the average American spent nearly $2,100 or 3.3% of their budget on gas, motor oil, and other fuels in 2019. Gasoline accounts for over 90% of this category. As per Smetters, however, on average, those with an annual pre-tax income of $30,000 to $40,000 spend a higher percentage of 4.1% of their budget on fuel, totaling around $1,700. In 2022, research indicated that spending more on gas may result in a reduction in spending on other household items, amounting to approximately 3%. This is a significant change. However, since oil prices are unpredictable and have risen rapidly, the impact on consumer spending will depend on how gas prices trend in the future. Nevertheless, it's likely that consumers will have to adjust their spending more of their budget toward gas if the current situation persists. According to Gallup's report in 2022, household income strongly correlates with experiencing hardship due to gas prices. More than 60% of Americans have reported driving less in summer due to gas prices, surpassing the percentages during previous high gas prices in 2000, 2001, 2004, 2005, and 2018. Furthermore, 55% of Americans said they were adjusting their summer vacation plans due to gas prices, a higher percentage than the 46% reported in May 2005 when Gallup last asked this question. Last but not least, it's more evident that high gasoline prices affect food prices. Let's take the food supply chain as an example. All starts with a farmer planting seeds and growing produce. Produce is then harvested, cleaned, processed, and packaged for sale. Next, it's shipped to a destination where it's put up for sale and eventually bought by the consumer for consumption or cooking. This entire process involves many different components, each of which can impact the final product. For instance, high fuel prices can directly affect the distribution of food. When gas prices rise, trucks and other transportation methods may need to travel shorter distances or the same price or increase the product's price to cover the additional expense. And considering USDA's prediction for 2023, the economic situation in America is dire. All food prices will increase by 5.8%, giving little to no hope to millions of households in the U.S., as food at home prices are predicted to increase by 4.9%. And food away from home prices are predicted to increase by 7.5%. Thank you for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and feel free to share your thoughts on the subject in the comments section below.